So iOS 26.1 RC or release candidate has been out for a couple days now, and I want to go ahead and give you guys some feedback specifically around performance and battery life. And jumping right into it, I want to show you how performance has been. So as you can see, we didn't run a Geekbench score on the day of release because everything's re-indexing. It always lowers the scores down, so wanted to wait a few days and let you see it now. So here it is, your first look at those Geekbench scores. We have a single core score of 3861 and a multi-core score of 9847. And as far as how this relates historically, you can see we've actually increased back up a little bit from beta 4, from a 3694 single to that 3861, and then another big jump from multi-core from 9591 to 9847. Again, I am not the biggest benchmark fan simply because it doesn't necessarily reflect real world usage day to day. Unless you're literally just opening and closing apps, and you've all seen those crazy videos, I don't see a lot of benefit from that. So if you're a big numbers guy, there you are nonetheless. And then battery life. Battery life, I am happy to say, has been much more solid in this build, and it is actually holding on much better in this RC. So, spoiler alert, right off the bat, I can tell you this has been a much more fluid, solid, and stable build than what we've seen from some of the betas. Definitely a good sign. One thing we didn't talk about yet either is battery health, since it is still new, but as you can see, we are still at 100% max capacity with 36 cycle counts. Obviously, this will grow over time as the max capacity slowly degrades, but right now, even with all these betas, we are looking pretty good. And then if you missed our other video as well, iPhone storage on here has somewhat stabilized a little bit, not too crazy. I still think it's more than it should be, but iOS as a whole is running 9.17 gigs. iOS is 13.9, and then total size is 23.07. So a little bit larger, but not crazy. And system data is almost right up there with it at 21.73 gigs. So a lot of storage going to be dedicated for the iOS itself. And here you go as an idea of what to expect with an iPhone 17 Pro Max in RC for 26.1. Now, in this build, one of the biggest talking points that a lot of people are excited about is this new liquid glass slider like we talked about. And really, this isn't a slider, it's a toggle between clear, as you can see here, and tinted, which still has accents of liquid glass. It's not completely gone. You can still see through that, but you can see the slight warpage in the background image, and it's more of a translucent look in tinted instead of clear. We've done a whole comparison on the music app, really, where you can see the swipe bar to change tracks. I'm not going to jump into all of that again for you guys today. I just did want to let you guys know that. And then also one of the other changes, if we actually go into the camera app, that is going to be, actually, excuse me, before we go into the camera app, go into the phone app, because now a lot of people, I actually had no idea a lot of people didn't like this, but there is a new setting for haptics here. In iOS 26, they had a connect sound or dropped call sound or end call kind of haptic feedback. I didn't realize a lot of people didn't like that, but apparently there was enough outrage of it that Apple now added a new toggle to turn that on and off. I like the kind of haptic cue letting you know this happened, but if you were not a fan, you can turn that off now nonetheless. And then, like I was saying, going back into camera, one of the best new little adjustments here is the ability now to actually turn off the swipe capture. So camera control slide on lock screen option is now here. And it's going to be right at the bottom, right down here, where it says lock screen swipe to open camera. This is where historically you were able to kind of swipe like this, and it would unlock the camera app. But mind you, you've always had numerous options to do this. You always have this button right here. If that is one you have on a shortcut on your lock screen, you have the camera control button still. There's always been extra ways to do this, so there's no reason personally to have that there. I hated it when I was swiping notifications away, but now that is actually able to be turned off, and you can see clearly we have left it turned off. Now, as far as release date for 26.1, We can expect this probably next week on Monday the 3rd, possibly the 4th, since this was a little delayed, but more likely than not, this will be dropping on November 3rd, which is only in a couple of days. That's going to be awesome. It does seem very stable. It does seem very usable, so I'm happy to see that. Now, for everyone else that is ready and waiting on the next beta, iOS 26.2 Beta 1 could come out next week as well, and this is something we have some ideas of what could possibly be included, but we have not heard any confirmation of what will be in 26.2. For a dot release, 26.1 did not have a lot of new features aside from those couple little tweaks I showed you, but hopefully on 26.2 we will receive some sort of new features, updates, or enhancements. So I'm very curious to see how that is, and again, we can only be a couple of days away from seeing that. But really, that is all for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think? How are you liking the betas if you've been running it, or what would you like to see added in iOS 26.2? Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.